Welcome to the second LinkedIn Live I've done on my posts on LinkedIn this week. This week, I'm Ash Ross. I'm an executive coach helping people reach their potential, helping teams do the same. So this week, my post was really looking at work-life balance and discussing whether or not work-life balance is actually a bit of a unicorn that we're chasing. And it can be a really interesting one. It's something that people come to coaching sessions with me all the time. So I thought I would talk a little bit about it. It's a really sort of quick overview. Normally these take about 5 minutes, and it's just to touch in a little bit more depth on the things that came up in the post. So what actually is work-life balance? It's something that is discussed in the media, like is we should be trying to achieve, trying to push for all the time. I see loads of LinkedIn posts about people trying to get to a balance. And sometimes it's worth considering, what are we actually trying to achieve? Like, what are the things that are in balance? What are the things that are out of balance? What's taking too much time? What's taking not enough of our time on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis? Um, to do that, it's really worth looking at all the aspects or the things that are important to you, almost grading them. So, like if you're thinking about work on a scale of 1 to 10, how much time is work taking from that scale? Like 10 being maximum, 1 being nothing. And then put in the other things that are important to you. So, family, children, relationships, hobbies, health, all of those types of things, and see where you're at. And that will give you a snapshot of, okay, what is taking the majority of my time? The next thing to really start to think about is, if that is taking so much of my time, am I comfortable with that? In service of what? Is it something that I'm doing out of choice, or is it something that I've fallen into as habit? What is driving those types of behaviors? Sometimes when we over focus on one particular thing, it can be because we have a lot of assumptions about what will happen if we don't focus on it. Like, particularly with work, if we're spending so much time focusing on work, is it because we're worried about potentially failing, the challenges that come up? Is it because then that would mean we'd lose that work, and that can lead to other potential challenges within our life? If they're there, how true are they? Is it because it's something that we really enjoy? Is it something that gives us validation, enjoyment, and happiness? And we're so focused on that aspect that we're neglecting some of the other areas that we'd get enjoyment from too. So it's almost like taking a balance inventory. The other piece to start to recognize is, am I actually in balance or out of balance every single day? Like, is it something sometimes I actually need to focus more time on something? Work in particular can throw up sort of key projects, key programs where we have to focus, and it's going to take more of our time. I'm finishing my dissertation for my MSc right now. That consumes a lot of my time. I'm making an active choice to really give the time to that dissertation, to focus on that, to make sure that it's getting my focus, to try and get me to an important goal, which is achieving my MSc. Whether or not I get there, I don't know, but I'm definitely putting the effort in to try and make it a possibility. In order for me to do that, I know some other things need to slip back to make space for me to do it, but I'm doing it consciously. It's this piece of going, well, I need to say yes to this time, so I need to say no to some other things. Now, the trick is when that stops, so my hand in time is next week, that's it, it's done. So my focus on that area is done. Where is my focus going to go to next? What am I going to allow myself to suddenly pick back up again? For me, it'll be family time, also focusing on some hobbies that I've let slip because I know that's important to me. It's exactly the same in a work-based scenario. When we have a big project, a big program, a big surge, yes, it takes our time. But when that stops, do we allow ourselves to focus on other areas, recognizing that we may have done 10, 12-hour days or weekends that have been focused on that, and we can then give ourselves permission to focus on the other areas of our lives that we want to have some time. By taking this type of approach, whereas we may not be able to look at balance on a daily basis, so working, let's say, a 9 to 5, being able to have 2 hours with the family either side, having a workout in place, making sure that we have time to do our hobbies. What we may be able to start to do is to recognize that actually now, because I am not having such a high demand or the project is finished, I can actually pare that back. So my work day gets slightly less, my time with my family gets slightly more, or some of the hobbies that I want to focus on can start to come back to the forefront again. By taking this type of approach, we get balance over time. So we're never fully in balance. So some things are more in balance than others. But when we start to take an inventory over a month, over a quarter, over a year, then we start to see how we're actually living a more balanced life. The crucial question whenever we're taking something on that helps us with this is, what am I saying yes to? What are the things that I need to say yes to? In order for me to do that, what do I say no to get there? Am I comfortable with that? For what time period am I comfortable with that? Like, if I have to say no to that for a week, is that okay? Am I comfortable with that? If I have to say no to something for a month, is that a challenge? If it starts to go out to 3 months, is it starting to come a point where something is over dominating and we're starting to neglect other areas that are important to us? It's the yes no stuff. If I say yes to this, what do I need to say no to? If I'm saying no to that, am I comfortable with it for the duration it takes? In that way, we can achieve some kind of balance. It's not a exact science. It's something that is constantly worked on, but constant review and refresh on the back of it can really help us get to that mythical unicorn of a work-life balance, or a more balanced life around things that are important to us. If you want to know some more, get in touch. I'd happily have a conversation about this. It's one of my favorite topics, and there's many different strategies. I'd love to hear what you think. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll speak to you.